Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are continuing the Zodiac series, and today we are going to be talking about the Taurus, the bull. So I do have my bull shirt on, my Taurus shirt, and it's actually a bull made up of all of the words that describe a Taurus. Taurus season starts April 20th and ends May 20th. So if you are a Taurus, happy birthday, happy belated birthday, happy early birthday. I'm close to the end. May 20th is approaching like that, but I made sure that I did this video within Taurus season because you guys, for being the patient ones, I think I've gotten the most requests for Taurus and Gemini actually. So we're here, we're going to be talking all about Taurus. I have a lot of experience, I would say, with Taurians. I have Taurus people in my family, close to me, friends. Like, obviously I'm not a Taurus, but I feel like I know Taurians very, very well. I sympathize with them a lot. I am attracted to Taurus just in all aspects, and mainly because I am the opposite of a Taurus. I'm a Scorpio, and naturally, because we are opposite opposing signs, we are connected because you are the opposite of me and I am the opposite of you, and we both learn from each other, have similarities, opposite but very similar. So I got to learn about Taurus people really early on in my life, even before I knew about zodiacs and before learning that I feel empathetically with people. Like, I can feel people out and kind of see them. Like, basically before I tuned into my Scorpio powers, you know, being able to see through people and really dig deep into people and get to know them and make assumptions, I guess you can say. I found out about Taurus way before all of that. So I have cousins who are Taurus, I have uncles, aunts who are Taurus, and growing up my family was always like, stay away from them, they're just too much. And I never really saw those people in my family as too much until I got a little bit older and started realizing that some of the things that they were doing were too much and were not the greatest. And so when I became an adult, I was like, I'm gonna avoid Taurus at all costs. And I ended up not doing that. But basically what I'm trying to tell you guys is that you guys are very misunderstood. And I think for someone who is not a Scorpio, or just like a water sign in general, and maybe even an earth sign, so people who are not earth or water, I think don't really understand why Taurians are the way they are, why they act the way they do. So right off the bat, when you hear of a Taurus, you hear stubborn. Stubborn, stubborn, stubborn. That's all people want to know about a Taurus, is that they're stubborn. And I definitely agree that you guys are stubborn, but I would like to think of it as more of, you guys know what you want, know what you're capable of, know what you're worth, so you take your time with things. You're very, very cautious and practical. So you're a fixed earth sign that's ruled by Venus, the planet of love. So that is why Scorpio is your greatest compatible sign, because you are the exact opposite. Venus versus Mars. It's like a classic story of opposites attract. Opposites don't always last, but they do attract. Sorry that the lighting is changing. I'm actually filming this on a really gorgeous day, and it was like the perfect day to do the Taurus video. Sorry, I'm just gonna like just digress a little bit, but it was such a beautiful sunny day, and there's this really calm air about today. I don't know if it's because we're actually transitioning into a crazy point in the world. Uranus is actually going into Taurus, and I think that's why I feel really calm right now and very just stable. So today I just felt like it was a perfect day to do Taurus. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I just felt very like wishy-washy and unstable emotionally, and so today I sat down and I indulged in my makeup. Like, I made sure to use my good stuff, like the Sisley primer, because Taurus is all about that. Taurus is about indulging in the finer things in life. So with any sign, there's always a developed and an undeveloped version. So think about how being overindulgent can affect your life negatively, you know, whether it's gluttony, like overindulging in food or sex or shopping or alcohol, you know, drugs. Too much of something is never good. And so Taurus rules indulgence, and it's like, I deserve to have everything. And so today when I did my makeup, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna feel a little bit bougie today. I'm going to use my good stuff because I wanted to feel like a Taurus. I wanted to take my time with my makeup. I didn't want to feel rushed. I wanted to relax and do my makeup and, you know, just really finesse it. So that's why I did this look. And so Taurus again, rules, indulgence, and they are associated with the 5 senses. So a lot of Taurians love perfume, smelling people, touch. You know, they're very like fixated on the outside appearances of people. They're attracted to beauty, and so they're attracted to people who are sensual, who are passionate, who are driven. So there's this thing that, you know, Scorpio can see inside of you. Like a Scorpio will like look at you and know really deep down inside you're not about that life, or, you know, you're just, you know, not on the same wavelength. We can see inside of you. So we can see like the lies and all of that. Where a Taurus can do that, but based off your appearance or your mannerisms or your, you know, the way that you move and act in your day-to-day life. And so they're patiently watching you from afar because they're very, very patient and slow with their movements, but they really assess everything based off of your physical traits, the way you physically move around them. Like body language is really, really big for a Taurus. They take forever because they really want to make sure that they're putting their heart into something that is deserving of them. So they will be super slow to, you know, approach you, to, you know, get the first date if they really want to court you. Not to say there's not Tauruses out there that, you know, will hit you up for one thing and then just bounce, but it's really not their character. When they're looking for love, let's say, they really just take their time. And so for me, the biggest advice to a Taurus would be to not overthink things too much. And I'm an overthinker for sure, but I act based on my heart, not on my mind. And so a Taurus, because they're fixed earth, and fixed earth means grounded and like real life, real foundations of things, like real practical like objects, like earth, you know, this earth. Because they're so on earth, they don't let themselves get too deep. They don't let themselves love too hard. You know, they kind of like keep things like, wait a minute, let me be practical about this. I don't want to get hurt. So they start overthinking things, and it could be about career too. I think Tauruses are their own worst enemies. I think Taurians do so well in creative places, in like managerial places. So Tauruses really thrive when giving other people direction because they are so earthy and they're so like, you know, grounded. I think any earth sign is a really good leader. And because Taurus is a fixed earth and they are so practical and grounded and humble and earthy, they make great leaders, great managers, bosses, entrepreneurs. But I think for the Taurians out there that struggle with, let's say, self-employment or entrepreneur, I think it's because they are scared of not being comfortable. So I think Taurians like structure. They dream about like, hey, I really wish I could just own my own business and just start up a business and, you know, do what I really want to do passionately, whatever that is. But they're so scared of getting out of that routine because they're so stuck on routine that they don't cut the cord and just go for it. Where other signs are just gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. If I fail, I fail. A Taurus is like, no, I'm not gonna skip any step. I do not want to fail. And so that fear of failure really can get them in a rut. And so that's why when I said there's developed Taurus and undeveloped Taurus can seem so slow that they're not like progressing in areas as fast as they want to, but it's like your life is only gonna go as fast as how much you put into it. You know, you have to be fearless and you have to just go for things with your heart, whether it's your career, whether it's, you know, making a move, like moving to another country, or, you know, going for that relationship, or quitting your job and doing your own thing. Like, you gotta do those things even if they scare the crap out of you. And I think a Taurus is really trying to avoid that scary feeling of that like vulnerability. I think Taurians have a really hard time with vulnerability. And so I've always been attracted to Taurus. Like Chris Brown and Channing Tatum have always been like super big crushes for me as far as like celebrities go. And it's weird because they're feminine signs, and I think why I'm attracted to like male Taurians is because to me they're so like steady and so practical that they're very like hardworking and so about like structure and strategy, and I'm all about like passion and heart. That's what is like my balance. Like I'm attracted to that because it's like that saying that's like, you keep me sane, I'll keep you wild. Like that's how I feel when anyone dates a Taurus, especially a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. They feel like they're bringing the emotion and the Taurus is bringing in the stability. Tauruses also love food. They're big foodies. So if you ever want to win over a Taurus, it's definitely through their stomach. Also through gifts. They love gifts, but they will only accept gifts from those who, you know, they've opened up to. And even then, they might not accept it, but they secretly do want it and love it. But food is so big for a Taurus. They are all about their food. So my uncle who passed away, he was a Taurus. He would get his dinner set up. He would make sure that one, he had his own space. Like, he wouldn't eat with everybody else. He would do his own thing, and he would like set everything up, like the plate, the fork, the glass of, you know, whatever drink that he had, and he would sit down and ignore the world and focus and really indulge in that food and really enjoy it and like make noises and just really like eat it up so passionately and not share with anyone, which is so funny because Taurus people do not like to share possessions because they are the ones who are like possessive over things, over material. Scorpio is possessive over people, emotions, feelings, where Taurus, because they're earth, they are so fixated and so like possessive about things, their food, their clothes, everything, their money. You know, they're generous when they want to be, but naturally they're not really like very giving people. I've met two different types. I've met Taurians who are very giving, and I've met some who aren't. So again, it always depends on what they've been through, you know, how they were raised, if they're developed or undeveloped. But yes, they love their food, they love to try new food, and so that's why they say Taurians are prone to being thicker, to being chunkier, because they love them some food. But I would argue, I have seen Taurians who, you know, let themselves really indulge in food like a little too much. But I find that actually Taurians are so about the visual, and they're so about the body and like maintaining like sensuality and sexuality, that they're fixated and they're obsessed with the gym. I know a lot of Taurians who are obsessed with the gym and looking good, or even the ones who aren't obsessed with the gym, at least they'll be like in the flyest clothes with the best smelling cologne with a belly, but it's like, hey, I smell good and I look good, like I have the freshest clothes on. They're very materialistic in that sense, where clothes define them and cars define them. They want those finer things in life. It matters to them. It's not everything to them, but it definitely matters to them. They probably will choose the Lamborghini over a lot of things. And it's not something like bad unless it gets, you know, to the point where it is damaging to who they are, because at the end of the day, we don't keep possessions, you know. Material things, they go. They need to figure that out on their own. It's like, okay, why am I so pressed and worried about money? Why do I seek partners who are financially stable enough to take care of me? Like, I had a client once, and it was a Taurus season, and it was her birthday. Was it her birthday or her friend's birthday? I don't know, but she was a Taurus, and she was like, of course I'm looking for a man with money. Like, what you mean? I need to get taken care of. Like, I'm tired of providing. And I'm like, what? And like, I don't see life that way. And so it's like, I'm interested. Like, then I start asking questions, and we start talking about it. Like, yeah, like if you don't got the flyest car, I don't want it. And it's like interesting. And then studying signs and stuff, I do know that Taurians like stability because they're so stable, because they're so hardworking. It's like, I'm not going to, you know, build this beautiful mansion for myself, and you're gonna come in here and just use me and like not have your own. Like, let's both have Lambos, you know, like let's both be equally as driven when it comes to money. So Taurians, people see it as, oh my god, they're looking for someone with money, but I see it more as, I'm looking for someone to match my effort. If I'm putting that much emphasis on my career and on, you know, growing financially, then I think I should have someone, you know, respectively do the same. So they love food, they do love appearances, they're very sensual, and they like touch, they like affection, they like people to, you know, kind of caress them and baby them, and not too much, don't smother them. They like to keep a little bit of them to themselves, like not mystery, but more like, don't smother me, don't ask me all the time where I'm at, but when I do see you, like I want you on top of me. But when we're apart, give me my space. I think that's totally a Taurus. And Taurians are also known to be all about that commitment life, you know, marriage and having a home together, and you know, that like traditional way of love, which is, you know, get married, have children. I'm gonna argue though that I think they want that, but because they're so extremely picky, they rarely ever get that. I have uncles and cousins who are Taurians, and I think this goes more for the men. They tried it out, they were like, yeah, let's get married, let's live together, but then it just doesn't work out, whether it's their temper or cheating or just controlling ways. The other person just like can't take it anymore. Like, it just doesn't work out. And I know a lot of single Taurians, but they don't mind it. Like, I have a cousin who's like, I don't mind being single. Like, I enjoy myself. I enjoy my time. I like to go to work and go home, you know, eat, play a video game, like routine. Like, I don't want change. I'm scared of change. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to go through that. So I think they're okay with being single. It's not like, oh my god, they're all single, what a tragedy. Where I feel like Scorpios do think that way, like, I'm single, like, I don't want to be, like, I want love. And Taurus is like, catch you later, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, chill, just chill some more. Chill. But I think that the women, Taurus women, do value relationships, love. They're a lot more emotional. They're a lot more, you know, committed in that sense, I think, compared to the male Taurus. I think the women are just a little bit more practical in that sense. Like, I want to get married, like, I want someone to, you know, build with. But sometimes the women could be also scared of commitment. Not scared, but they just don't want to be bothered. Like, they don't want headaches and they don't want to be bothered. It's like a bother to them to have to like work at something, because they're working so hard on their like career and on other things. It's like, now you gotta come over here and, you know, disrupt my peace and call me every minute. I don't want that. Like, I've spoken to so many Taurus women who are like, I don't want a man who's gonna be smothering me, controlling me, telling me what I can't do. Like, I'm building my life for myself. You either need to add to it or just don't even approach me with that, because I'm not here for it. I don't got time for that. And even if I did have time for that, I don't want it, because I want to just be in my bed sleeping. That's another thing. They sleep a lot. There's a meme, or not a meme, like a page on Instagram that tells you like all about the signs, and it's like, how many hours a day does that sign need? And Capricorn is like 7 hours exactly every single day, very strategic, routine. Scorpio was like 1 hour, like 3 hour, maybe a nap here and there, because we don't sleep a lot. Pisces was like sleep a lot. And then Taurus was like 28 hours. Like some crazy thing like that, because y'all could sleep. You guys could really enjoy that sleep and then just eat in bed. Like, you like that being away, maybe in a different country, and just like, you know, cuddling with your boo-boo and just eating in bed and like letting them feed you, and then just sleep. And then just sleep away, and then wake up and then get in a bubble bath. Like, it's all about the finer indulgence. Like, I almost think of Taurians like cats, like really prissy cats who are like not bothered. Like, I don't want to do that. No, I want this food. And then, but they're bulls, and so bulls have really bad tempers. And so I think people are like, Taurians have such hot heads, they're so hot-headed. When you think of a bull, they're very gentle. Bulls are just chilling in the grass, doing their own thing, eating. Like, they're minding their own business. And then here comes some whatever, bird, man, whatever, comes over here and starts taunting the bull. Tapping on the shoulder. The bull's like, what? Tap on the shoulder. What? Yo. And then like the man or whatever, the object, the thing runs, and the bull's like, nah, I'm charging after it. Like, you just disrupted me. I tried to be patient with you. I kept my cool, but I lost it. They see black. And so that can be very dangerous. Taurians can be very dangerous when triggered. So it's best to steer clear. It's best to give a Taurus their space when they're feeling angry, because they will push you out of the way, and they can get physical. And we all know Chris Brown, I mean, it's dangerous. They could get really dangerous, and the only way really to avoid that, because I don't think they're even aware of when it happens, that blackout, is just the other person cannot be a provoker. You have to just let them be. If it means walking away from that person completely, then walk away from that person. But provoking them, you know, they get provoked and then they do something and then they're like, why did I do that? Like Chris Brown, you know, he spoke about it afterwards, and you know, he's trying to remain peaceful. But Chris Brown is actually like a really great representation of a Taurus who's so stubborn and too stubborn to learn from his mistakes. You know, when he got with Karrueche, also made a lot of mistakes. And yet when she left the situation, he went crazy. He started showing up. So it's like the Taurus will, you know, treat someone poorly, or like he did, like had a baby with someone else and get physical. And then when that person's like, all right, I'm out, the Taurus is like, wait a minute, no, come right back here. It's very narcissistic in a way. But that's, again, an undeveloped Taurus, because not all Tauruses are like that. But, you know, you do have to watch that tongue, that, you know, very blunt way that you guys have of speaking. You're very, very honest. And that's why I get along with Taurus, because I'm like, I'm just as blunt. I'm just as reckless with my mouth. So we get along just fine. So I actually think some of the most hardworking signs of all of these signs are Aquarius, Taurus, Capricorn, Scorpio. Of course, the rest are hardworking. But Taurus people are very hardworking and they give it their all. They're the type to not call out of work, you know, continue to show up at this job that they hate because they're so dependable. Like, they know that people are riding on them. Like, the job is dependent on their hard work, and so they will stay in situations that do not benefit them just for the sake of being hardworking. And I think you guys, Tauruses, can learn from, let's say, an Aquarius who is like, this isn't serving me anymore. I deserve better. I work hard enough to do better. I'm gonna bounce, I'm gonna do this instead and see where that takes me. Kind of more fearless way of being. I think a Taurus can, like I said, give too much even when not expected. A Taurus will give and give and give without the other person asking, and so when the other person asks for a little, the Taurus is like, nah, like, I just gave you all of this, even though no one asked for it. In a job, you know, they'll go and go and go at it, and then it's like when one thing is expected from them, they're like, whoa, I gave you my all. And so then they become really like resentful and, you know, revengeful and a little bit petty. You know, I think Taurians can be a little bit petty, a little petty, and it's okay. It's all about learning. Don't take me talking like negatively about any sign in a bad way. Like, I was ruthless to the Scorpios. Like, I'm a Scorpio. I am very honest with myself, and that's why I think I'm so good at doing these videos, because I'm like, let's look at the good and the bad. Take it with a grain of salt. Okay, I'm supposed to be lazy according to my sign. How can I not do that? When someone's calling me out for being stubborn or lazy, can I push through this stigma or how I'm supposed to be wired as a person? Can I push through this and prove myself otherwise and just be more loving and passionate and just more caring and just more, yeah, loving, you know? How can I be the best version of myself? So that's why I'm telling you guys like the negative traits, because I like to observe people, and I've seen so many patterns in, let's say, the Taurus like we're talking about right now, for, you know, being like the type to give all in and then poof, gone with the wind, you know, so afraid of feelings and so afraid of being wrong or so scared of hurting people that they're not honest with themselves, so they'd rather just disappear. They'd rather eliminate themselves from a situation like that. So it's like, instead of doing it that way, I would suggest the whole time when you're in something, being honest, communicative with people, like express your feelings more so that you're not doing this charge motion, you're not exploding, you're not disappearing, because in the end you're hurting other people and that's karma for you. You know, Scorpios do that too, you know, and that's why I feel like I talk so much, when I talk about Taurus, I talk about Scorpio, because they're opposites and they can learn so much from each other. If your sign is one and your opposite is another, I highly suggest looking into that other sign so that you can learn from your opposite sign. Like, if you want a good friend, get you a Taurus friend, because they're gonna be there forever. You can call them years down the road and be like, yo, I need you, and the Taurus is like, give me 5 minutes. Dependable, you know, like very dependable. So it's like, take that and use it for good, use it, you know, in a positive light. And the saying that goes for Taurus is, I have, like, I physically have, like, I have you in my possession, I have this amount of money, I have. So it's more of like learning to just be like, I am. Like, instead of focusing so much on the earth and what's here and this on earth, like about your money and about your possessions, your clothes, your car, the people in your life, focus more, I would say, in my, of course, it's just my suggestion, focus more on being a positive force to other people, you know, making a difference in other people's lives. I am dependable, I am loving, I am loved, I am patient, I am, you know, those types of things instead of I have, because I have is a very like young, I feel like, because, you know, Taurus is the second sign, so it's almost like the toddler where it's like, I have this, and it's like, if I don't have this, I'm gonna throw a tantrum. Like, it's all about that, like, I want like a room full of toys, and it's like, if you don't have that toy, it's okay. It's okay. Maybe you don't have that toy because it's not for you right now. Work on it. Maybe work on yourself and someone will reward you with a toy. So again, Tauruses, they say, are a little bit on the chunkier side, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I do find that Taurus people tend to have like cankles. I don't know if that's like a weird observation that I've made, but they tend to have like wider or thicker like feet. That's kind of weird. Also their neck, so they are actually ruled by the throat, or they rule the throat. and so they tend to have really like broad necks, very thick necks. So sometimes they say they're prone to like sore throats or anything like ear infections and stuff like that, because it's all connected. So like throat, oh, and their voices too are very distinct, very sensual, powerful, just very soothing voices. I mean, some of the best, you know, musicians are Taurus, so that goes to show that. So it's like, be more in tune with your artistic side, Taurians, okay? Don't be so like specific, like paint freely. Like, I don't know, I feel like I just want to get a Taurus into their most creative side because I know it's in there. Anyway, physical traits, they tend to have dark features. So even if they have like a blue eye, it's like a darker blue eye. They tend to have like deep set eyes, so kind of like serious eyes where their eyebrows kind of protrude a little bit more than their eyes. They tend to have really, really distinct jawlines. You know, they have really beautiful bone structures. I think Taurus have like the most gorgeous faces, wider faces, like a bigger, like a bull head, but very like symmetrical. Like think of Adele, like her eyes, like everything is very symmetrical. It's a lot of face. They don't have like small heads, they have like big heads, and it's just very like structured. Like David Beckham. David Beckham is a Taurus. Like David Beckham, Channing Tatum, and Chris Brown, those are like it for me. Those are the people that I'm attracted to, but I think it's because of that masculine, chiseled face. The Rock is a Taurus. Look at The Rock's chiseled face, like that smile with the dimples, like it's very attractive. George Clooney is a Taurus. And look how long it took for him to commit. I mean, talk about time, right? Definitely time. Adele, gorgeous, talented, like out of this world. Megan Fox. Do I need to say more? Megan Fox. Like I said, David Beckham is a famous Taurus. Channing Tatum, Jessica Alba, John Cena is a Taurus. John Cena is recently divorced, and so is Channing Tatum. So I feel like there's definitely a correlation with the planets and what's going on in the world with like Taurians right now just going through it and just wanting to like focus on themselves, focus on their career, on their passions, on growing as individuals. I definitely think now that Uranus is going into Taurus, things are about to change. If you want me to talk about that, I definitely can. I definitely have to do it in a different video because this video is already long enough. But maybe I'll talk about it in my vlog because I have been reading up on it, studying it, watching videos on it. I'm very passionate about this Zodiac and planets, configuration, and astrology. So if you want me to talk about that, it's going to change everything for the next 7 years. I think it starts May 15th, or yeah, May 15th. Things are gonna change in the world. It's crazy, but I'll talk about it in a different video. Let's just go over some more famous Taurians. Janet Jackson, Jerry Seinfeld, Uma Thurman, Enrique Iglesias, Gigi Hadid is a Taurus. Mark Zuckerberg, wow, Stevie Wonder, Al Pacino. So really we have some really attractive, very talented Taurians, especially in the mainstream, like especially as celebrities, like even bodybuilders. There are a lot of Taurus bodybuilders, chefs, Taurus, because they love food. So if you're struggling with like career, maybe like think about really what you're passionate about, what you're good at, whether it's working out, whether it's painting, singing, organizing, you know, maybe you'd make a great lawyer because you're so strategic, and I don't know, just think outside the box. Think outside the norm of what you're already doing, like a mundane 9-to-5 job. If that's not for you, that's not for you, and if you're bored of it, change it. Taurus, I know it's easier said than done, but you got this. So the compatibility for a Taurus, they say water signs, because water nourishes the earth, you know, water into earth is beautiful, it works, it's life. That's why they say fire and earth, like fire signs won't work with an earth sign because they'll just burn the earth sign down, or an air will just kind of like be too airy for earth. But I think honestly anyone can work with anyone. It also depends on your other signs. It's really important to look at your Venus sign, your moon, your rising, all of your other houses, because that really matters to your moon and your rising. Definitely check out your chart. I have Taurus somewhere weird in my chart. It's not one of my main signs. I know that Aries and Taurus can clash. I've seen it firsthand because the Aries ultimately doesn't want to be controlled, and a Taurus is more of a controlling, like homebody, like you're mine. Like, what do you mean you're gonna go out every night to the club? Like, no. So I think that's why Aries and Taurus, you know, the Aries is like, I'm not waiting for you. Bye. Goodbye. Not patient enough. You know, the Aries is so quick to just be gone. That's why Taurus is a little bit, they need someone a little bit more patient. So Cancers work really well for Taurus. I've seen a lot of Libra with Taurus. I feel like that's a really popular match. I've seen it work. You know, I know a couple who's been together over 10 years and Libra with Taurus. As long as both signs are developed versions of themselves, of course it can work. I think a Leo and a Taurus wouldn't work. I have never seen that personally work. But again, anyone can work for you as long as you're both on the same page, want the same things, have the same aspirations and goals, and are going in the same direction in life. If you're a Taurus, let me know what has been your best match, what has been your worst match, but tell me why, because what about that other person didn't click with you and why you think that sign didn't work, or why did it work? So now we're gonna go ahead and get into this tutorial. It's a brown, smoky, sexy, sensual eye with a nude lip and, you know, just very clean skin, because that's how Tauruses are. Very, like, they take care of themselves. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this tutorial. Let me know what you guys think of Taurians. Are you a Taurus? Let me know. Have you dated a Taurus? Are you married to a Taurus? Is your mother, your daddy, your father, your brother a Taurus? Let's talk about the Taurus gang. Please leave me a Taurus emoji in the comments. I definitely appreciate you guys for sticking with me with this Zodiac series. I love it, so I hope you guys are loving it too. So let's go ahead and get into this tutorial. Hi guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this tutorial. So I'm using the Nars Soft Matte Concealer and I'm using the shade Vanilla just to clean up underneath my brows. I like cleaning them up before doing my eyebrows, and I'm also going to be using this as my eyeshadow primer. And then for my brows, I'm using the Kat Von D pomade in medium brown. This has been my favorite. It just looks really natural. It goes perfectly with my hair color, so I am loving this pomade. So I'm just using an Anastasia brush to apply that, and then I also applied a little bit of the Dior brow styler just because I'm extra. So I went ahead and set my lids with some translucent powder. Now I'm going in with the Anastasia palette. This is the Soft Glam palette, and I'm using orange soda and burnt orange together combined with the Senna feather brush in my crease. And then I'm going to go in with the shade burnt orange and rustic. I'm mixing those two colors and I'm applying that just below that. So the first one was my transition, and this is just right underneath in my crease. I wanted it to be very earthy and brown. So then I went in with burnt orange on my lid. I was going to do a cream on my lid, but I wanted it to be very brown toned. So I went with a brown on the lid, and here I'm just kind of deepening out that outer crease. And then I'm also going to be applying the shade Sienna, which is a really nice reddish warm shade from that palette, just to add some warmth. And then I went in with Noir from the same Soft Glam palette, and I'm applying that as kind of like a fake liner. I did wet the brush. This is a little trick if you don't want to do liner. And here I'm just kind of smoking it out and making it a little bit thicker. And then I'm applying a little bit more of Rustic and Sienna right into my crease with a very, very pointy brush for some nice detailed crease work. Here I'm applying the Chanel Le Volume Mascara, just a small coat of that, and then the Marc Jacobs black eyeliner. For my primer, I'm using the Sisley primer, the Double Tenseur, very bougie. I love it. It's like skincare and primer in one. And then for lashes, I'm using these Dee Lashes in Divine. I will have them listed down below. And then I went in with my Dior foundation. This is the Air Flash foundation in the shade 300. And I forgot how much I loved this. They actually came out with new shades and I want to pick some up. This foundation will give you such an airbrush look. Your skin will look so smooth. And this color was actually a good match. First, I went in with the Nars concealer in Vanilla, and then I went over that with Custard. I wanted it to be a blend of both so that it could be bright but also cancel out the darkness underneath my eyes. And then I'm baking with the Hourglass, the new translucent powder, their new loose powder. I'm obsessed with this powder. You can bake with it and you can just use it to set your face. So that's what I'm doing here, just using that powder to set my whole face with that Hourglass powder. I am obsessed. I love it. Then I'm going to warm up my skin. I'm using the MAC Dark Golden MSF. Just a little bit of that just to give me a little bit of a guide of where I want to contour my face. And this look is very easy, neutral, but very sexy at the same time. So then here I'm contouring with the Bobbi Brown Golden Light, chiseling out my cheeks and my jaw, and using that same golden light shade for my nose contour. And I'm using a Dose of Colors brush, and I'm just contouring my nose and then wiping away the translucent powder, the Hourglass translucent powder. And then I'm going to smoke out my lower lash line with the shade Sienna, Rustic, and Burnt Orange, all underneath my eyes, and just blending that and connecting it to the top eyeshadow. Here I'm just blending my real lashes with the falsies with some MAC mascara and also applying that MAC Extended Play Giga Black on my lower lashes because I love that stuff. Here I'm applying Costa Riche from MAC, and then for blush I'm using the Burt's Bees Toasted Cinnamon because I wanted it to be earthy and I didn't want it to be too peachy. So I'm going with brown tones all around, very monochromatic look here. For my lips I'm using MAC, I think I'm using Oak. Am I using oak? I will have it listed down below. Oh no, chestnut. I'm pretty sure it was oak or chestnut. And then I went in with NYX London Soft Matte Lip Cream. And then I went in with Charlotte Tilbury Nude Cake. It's a lot of lippies, but I didn't want it to be too matte. I wanted it to have a little bit of a sheen. Here I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Glow. It's like a liquid glow product. And that is in the shade number 3. And then I'm going to top that with the Nars highlighting palette. I'm kind of mixing the two middle shades just to kind of top it off. I'm also applying that to my nose, and the Charlotte Tilbury gives you a nice like dewy glow, but it also helps your highlight kind of stand out a little bit more. I'm going over that nose contour just because sometimes I kind of blend too much. And then to really pinch the nose, I like using a lighter powder to just bake on the sides. Here I'm using the JLo Inglot Boogie Down Bronzer in the shade number 3. I love the Boogie Down bronze. So I'm just using that to warm up my skin, and then I'm cleaning away that Dermablend translucent powder. I like to bake like twice on my nose just to really make it snatched. And then I'm using the Nars palette again for a nose highlight and also an inner corner highlight, as well as on my brow bone just to give me a nice eye lift. And then I went in with a little bit more of the Kat Von D pomade. I just love how creamy this product is, and it really just, it's so smooth, like it's so easy to use. It never is dry. It just, such an easy product. And then I just set that with the MAC Quiet Brunette. And that is the entire look. I loved how it came out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know I love me a neutral look. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys. Mwah. I love you all.